let's find out if these books are self-destructing or if I did better than I think I did. Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I said were going to self-destruct in 6 months, and then I proceeded to forget about until November. I did this video in January and completely forgot about it, and I saw Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading recently talk about some books that she was going to have self-destruct from last year, and I think I also saw Bree from Four Paws in a Book do this recently. And it sort of triggered a memory. So we're gonna watch through the video and we're gonna see how I did. I already know one that I am gonna give myself an exception for. I think there are only 5 on this list, so we're gonna see. Something I have never done before. I have seen these books will self-destruct lists all over BookTube for years, but I can never commit. So the first one I have here is Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the first in... Okay, so Call Down the Hawk is the one that I was going to give myself an exception for, because I started this book and thought that I was going to be able to do it without rereading the Raven Cycle, but I realized that I want to reread the Raven Cycle before I jump into Call Down the Hawk. I'm also really nervous about starting Call Down the Hawk because I love the Raven Cycle so much. So I was giving myself grace to do that. I reread the Raven Boys this year, and I don't know when I'm gonna get to the Raven Cycle reread, but I'm giving myself grace on this one because it was not as easy to just jump into this series as I thought. So let's see how the rest of the list goes. 23. Next we have Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. Okay, so for the Queen of Air and Darkness, I actually DNF'd this series and got rid of a lot of Cassandra Clare books that were on my list. I actually decided that I'm no longer gonna try to keep up with the Immortal Instruments, whatever this series is, the Shadowhunters world. I think I have a few things left, namely I think I have the Magnus and Alec series left on my shelf just because those are shorter and I'm more interested in that because those are the characters I know rather than the characters that I'm like learning. So I just got rid of all my Cassandra Clare and actually DNF'd this. So next up I have Daughters of the Storm by Kim Wilkins. This is a series that has been sitting on my shelf for a few years now, like probably 3 or 4 years. Okay, so actually Daughters of the Storm is another DNF for me, and a recent one. I haven't even talked about this. This is going to be in my wrap up for the second half of November, but I actually DNF'd that this weekend because I started it. I think it had a solid premise, but the character work was just something that I wasn't going to get along with. The characters weren't super likable, and the more I read a few reviews to try and see if things got better, and most people agreed that the characters were sort of unlikable and difficult, and I just decided it wasn't for me. So this is another one off my list. Unfortunately, another DNF. I want to try this. Then we have Vengeful by Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab. This is almost comical at this point. This is another DNF. This was Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I started this. This was on my list of books in my 12 secret TBR books that I read in the first half of the year, and this was one of the first ones I read, and I ended up DNFing it because I just decided that Vicious didn't need a sequel. After I was starting to read it and everything, I just was like, I don't care to know more, so I ended up DNFing this, and V.E. Schwab is super hit or miss for me, so this wasn't really a surprise, but yeah, I DNF'd this too. Then the last one I have here is Strange to Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I have put this on so many TBRs over the years, and I always qualify it like this, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so this is so funny because I just recently read Strange to Dreamer too. I read Strange to Dreamer in November. So I did read this and finish it. This is the last one I have on the list. So I have 1 book that I read, 3 that I DNF'd, and 1 that I have left. So like I said, I am going to give myself the qualification that after putting it on this list and trying to start it, I decided that I want to reread the original series before jumping into Call Down the Hawk. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace on that one, but I am going to give myself 6 books to hopefully read in the next like 6 months till like mid-year next year. And I'm going to write things down so that I remember to talk to you about them. Okay, so the first one I have here is Circe by Madeline Miller. This is super shiny, super beautiful. I had to order this immediately when it came out because I was so excited for it and it sounded great. I never read it, and I absolutely loved Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, so I definitely want to check this one out as well. This is one of the older books on my TBR at this point, so I want to read it and check it out and try it. I also have a bunch of Greek mythology retellings on my TBR right now, since there was like a wave of them recently, so this might be in a vlog or like a group of them at some point that I read, but I definitely want to get to this soon. I also have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson on this list. This is a mystery YA thriller that sounds really fun, and I think it sounds really interesting. I think the series is complete at this point, and I've had this for a couple of years, and I just am afraid that this is going to slowly become not my thing the longer that I get away from reading so much YA. So I'm trying to tackle as much YA on my shelf as possible, as fast as possible. So this is on the list to try and get to soon. Then I mentioned that I got rid of all the Cassandra Clare on my shelf except the Alec and Magnus series, so I should probably prioritize reading this so that I see if I still want to keep it, because if not, then it can go too. But I definitely want to try this and give it a shot. I don't know if this series is complete, but I have the first 2 books, so I can at least give them a try and see if it's my thing. I also have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is one that I pre-ordered and really wanted to read because I loved The Night Circus when I read it back in the day, and then I never read this, and I think this is going to be something I enjoy. Like, it sounds a lot like Strange the Dreamer, The Night Circus, a lot of things like that sound really up my alley and that I really enjoyed. And also people that there's a few people on BookTube that I watch that didn't like this book, but I usually disagree with them, so that like bodes well for me. This is also one of the older books on my TBR, so it's something that I want to pick up and cycle through. The 5th one is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is a YA fantasy dystopian sort of series, and I think it's 5 books. It's complete. It's been complete for a little while. This is another one that's YA, so I want to try it before I get any further away from YA, and it's a YA fantasy, so it could definitely be a miss for me at this point, but it's another one that I want to give an honest try to. Then the last one I have here is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, the first book in the Expanse series. This is one that I have the audiobook for as well, and I picked this up several years ago when the TV show was starting to come out, and that's been out forever now. I picked this up I think in 2018, so it's been another one that is like the oldest physical book on my TBR, and I'm definitely trying to clear out those years like I talked about in my TBR and review videos. So another one that is definitely on my radar to try very, very soon and see if I enjoy, because if I don't, I have a few of the installments that I could, pass along to the next person. So those are the 6 books that I'm thinking will self-destruct in about 6 months. I'm going to give myself till the end of June to do this, so a little bit of time during and after the holidays to get started on this, but also try and remember. I'm going to make a note in my planner so that I actually remember to check in with this and to give you an update on this, because these are all very like possibilities that I'll like or they won't. So it should be kind of like the last video, that either I will have read them and enjoyed them, or maybe they'll be DNFs. We shall see, but I will update you in 6 months. And yeah, but that's everything that I have for you today. If you have any thoughts or feelings or want to share anything about the books that I talked about today, you can do that down below in the comments. If you don't feel like chatting, you can always leave me the like explosion, like flashy emoji, whichever one you choose. But if you want to like, comment, or subscribe on the video, that really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!